Brad and I work for the same company, the same dealership, and so after talking, we got kind of nervous, what if we had to shut our doors and then both of us would be without a job. He had a friend get him a job with the railroad. He got the job, and all he had to do now was the physical, no problem, right? So he had to go to several places and do his physical, and in the end, they told him, you can't have the job. You're pre-diabetic, and you're too heavy, you're too fat. That, I guess back then, should have opened our eyes, but it didn't. And I was like, you probably need to go to the regular doctor and get some blood work done and all this. And we were like, well, we can't. Our insurance is a very high deductible, and we just couldn't afford it. So it just kind of got pushed under the rug, and we just prayed that nothing would happen to where we were both without a job. November of last year, LaDonna came to our employer and said, hey, we've got this great program. Me and my ladies can come up here. We can do blood work for your people for, y'all, it's next to nothing. And so I said, Brad, this is our opportunity. Why not? We can afford that. And so we did. We both got our blood work done. We had the results the next day, and it was rough. All I saw on that piece of paper was me losing my husband. And so I went to my office, and I called the doctor, and I made an appointment, and I came back and I said, you have an appointment in 1 week. I have already put 20 years into you, and you're not going to widow me now. So that's how we ended up at the doctor. He just made a life change. Cut out the carbs and the sugars, and changed the vitamins he was taking. We got bicycles, and we started to be more active. Got on the right medications that he needed, and here we are a year later, and we went from 230 pounds and a 38 waist to 165 pounds, and 32s are just a little bit loose, but not only did he change physically, but he feels better. His mood is totally different. It's a totally different world in 1 year from us being able to afford that blood work.
Heart disease is a sort of a silent killer for both men and women. One of the things that the laboratory can do is test things like cholesterol. You might notice the difference in these two tubes. The tube here on my right, the plasma is clear and yellow in color. Notice that this tube, the plasma has a milky consistency. This is because it has a high triglyceride level and also high cholesterol levels. And this, of course, is an extreme case, but in the laboratory, we can easily measure the good cholesterol and the bad cholesterol, and we're able to let people know well before they have a crisis that they need to make some changes in their life.
I just want to say thank you to LaDonna and the reference lab. The first time they came out and made it possible for us to have our blood work at a price we could afford, it was hard. It was really hard. But they did it one day and brought our results out the very next day, so we didn't just have to wait a long period of time, wondering. And those first results were hard, but LaDonna was right there with us, just making sure we were okay and just kind of cheering us on. And I read those results with fear on my face, I'm sure. She saw me. And then, 6 months later, after my husband had made the changes that he needed to make, they came back out again so we could follow up again at a way we could afford to do so. Because if not, I don't know that it wouldn't have been pushed to the side, because when you break it all down, a lot of times our health depends on what we can afford. So they made it possible for us to afford to basically save my husband's life, to be around for me and my children and my grandchildren. Her and her ladies have just really made it possible to make the changes we need to make in our life to stay on this earth together for a long time. Thank you.
You bet.
Remember that this not only affects you, it affects the people around you, your loved ones, your wife, your kids, your grandkids. It makes it, to me, a little more important to make the healthy, the smart decisions.
What gave us that was just the opportunity that United Regional gave us to open our eyes and take the steps we needed to get healthy. And that's what's going to give us a lot more years together.